Okay, found a video for a 1965 Buick Rivera rear quarter panel window and motor removal. The only thing is it was one part of who knows how many, and I can't find part 2, part 3, or whatever it is. It helped me out at the beginning. The rest was all guesswork, but I'm recording it for my own reasons. But if I post it, hopefully it helps out somebody. So here we go. First things first, you're going to see when you take this panel out, you'll see all the mechanisms. Now, there's a screw here, and there's a screw here. Remember those, because we're going to have to come back to those. Probably going to be the second item to take off. But right now, what we're going to take off is this little bracket right here. There's 2 screws. They're about 7/8. Now to remove it, it just basically has a slide right on down. And that could be an issue right there itself. Dirt, grind, the wheels there. Now I have mine hooked up to the battery still. I don't have a switch back here, but it is still connected to the front. And I'm just making sure that I have visual of those screws. Okay, now moving on to removing the 2 screws. You'll notice 1 and 2. It's easier if you get the window in this position because you need to reach for it. And now carefully remove this one bracket. Those are loose. We're going to work on these screws right here next. But there's going to have to be a way to set your motor down to here. So this bracket has to be down here. And now that we brought this arm down right here, we're going to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to remove. That should help this be removed easier. Should. Okay, this is as far as that last video came to. The gentleman doing his 65 Buick. And from right here, we're going on to uncharted territory for me. So here we go. This glass should just come out from this angle. This can be pushed down a little. My bad, I left this out. You'll see some channels right here. I believe we want to make these screws come down into it. It gives you a little bit more play. I got a screw poking out right here. These are your adjustments for your window, and he doesn't want to let go. Okay, having little difficulties removing the glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the motor, and it's these 3 screws. It's actually 4. I just took one out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I had to put a pause there. Unscrewed the motor, dropped it, gave me a little bit more elbow room in the back. Was able to drop this bracket, have the glass come right on out. second. Like that. There's your motor. And it slides out a lot easier. Well, I should have showed the before and after. These are all the mechanisms for your window unit. Motor for sure, crank, and your guide rails. The guide rails were pretty thrashed up inside here with rust, really bad. You can see just a little there. I'm going to sandblast a little bit more off. I have my own sandblast machine, so I sandblasted all that clean. I'm going to do the same to this part right here, maybe. I'm going to check it out a little bit more. But when working this Johnny here, this little gear shaft, careful with it because it will slide off. It's just pushed in here. And when this slides out, this spring untwines. Not very bad, but it does untwine. So my recommendation that you do is take photos of the angle that this is all at. So if it does pop off, you know where to put your tension and you'll be familiar with it, because the first time I did it, the springs are a little open right here and you're used to seeing springs like completely compressed. Kind of fooled me off on my first one I did. So good luck on this. Now, earlier I did tell you about this spring, the tension and placement. For those who are kind of worried about it and want to clean this up and make sure this gear doesn't pop anywhere and the spring loosens, I got myself a 1/4 inch bolt here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to twist the gear until I see a hole in there. I'm going to grab this, put it inside, let the gear go. Now that it's tensed up, the gear comes out. I'm going to clean this up too right here. I'm going to throw it in a sandblaster, but make sure you cover up this rubber around the edges so it doesn't mess up. Other than that, it's pretty nice. I'll see you back and I'll show you the outcome of it all. So this has been sandblasted. As you can see right here, there is a wheel. Forgot to mention, cover it up. Don't let it get hit by the sandblaster if you're gonna do it, or even painted. This one came out really nice and pretty too. Okay, so next, give a little paint job on it to protect it a little longer. Then I'm gonna start on the insulation. Sandblasted all the railing, guide rails. I even sandblasted the gear here. Everything came out pretty nice. Painted it. Got rid of all the rust I could on there. I don't know if you guys remember that one. That one came out okay. So this was the original motor. And this is the motor that they sell at original parts. Comes with a little pigtail and a new motor. Now when you get this new motor, you're gonna notice this. Well, this is nothing. You're just gonna take this off, take off that existing gear, and it's gonna just replace this one right here. They're a pretty good fit. I had no problems with them. All right, prior to installing your window, I would suggest you change your window filter if you have to now. When your window's in, you'll probably have issues changing it with the window glass end. Reason being is, well, you may be able to reach this screw here and this screw here. but your glass is through here, and where it's at, the suckers are stapled. I already yanked mine out and cleaned up the chrome trim, but your window felt is stapled and screwed on. You're going to be hassling with it, taking it off. You have maybe the probability of breaking your glass. So I would suggest if you can do it now, do it now. They're easy. Got mine from original parts. OPGI. Fits in perfect. Match the holes. And then it just drills right on in. And then we'll work on the glass. Okay. Started getting ready to install this, and I thought I'd go ahead and show you how I take care of the motor to replace the old one. Obvious, you're going to notice this faceplate right when you get this new motor. It's very easy to remove. I already took mine off. Just 3 screws. Take this gear out. There's the old gear, or new gear. And then you grab your old gear. And it's going to go right in there. But it's going to go in when this is done. So let's go ahead and take care of that right now. This motor goes back in this angle. Nice and flat. Now the new motor, same. The holes all match the same. Right over. Sorry, trying to record and do this at the same time doesn't really work out for me. So the bolts go back in. There you go. Now, the pigtail, you're gonna just plug it right on in through these connectors. But here's the thing that I noticed on my last one that I did. When I was going up on the switch, the window was going down. And when I was going down, the switch was going up. So what I did was I removed these 2 wires out. They come out really easy, just be careful. And I flipped them. Not sure if it's going to do the same thing on this side, but if so, it's very simple. You just take these little johnnies out, flip it over, and connect it. You should get up and down properly. Now, before you install your motor, I don't know if you recall, I said there may be an issue with the pigtails being wired backwards from OPGI. So before you install it, I would suggest find yourself somewhere for a ground. Go ahead and plug this in. And you have to have the ground for the motor to work. Don't freak out if you hook it all on and you're over here trying to make it work. It won't work without a ground. So here we go. Motor's going to go in like this. Obviously, up is going to be up, down is going to be down. We're going to go up. Oh, went downwards. Let's go down. Okay. So obviously, we already know what it is. Pull these out. There's 2 little wires right here. We're going to yank those out and just switch them. So, if you're having issues removing this, I would suggest get a really skinny screwdriver, flathead. Push it in here, and you push these down. And they'll slide right on out, no problem. Before you push them back in, give them a little twist up a little bit. Now for me, I already marked which way I'm going. My negative is going to come on this side. Back in here. And it's only one way to go on. This side is thinner, this side is thicker. Like I said, this side's thinner, that side's thicker. Okay, put that in. Make sure our wires are in proper. Let's give it a little tester. Okay, like I said, my switch on the front door is still working. I saw people using it on the regular switch, this one. You can hook it up to a battery, which I'm kind of lucky, I still have a power switch. All right, so here we go. Okay, so now we're ready to try to go up. I had to pause for a minute there, guys, in case you're noticing things look different. Okay, we're plugged in, we reversed the wires. Your motor's going in this way once more. We want it to go this direction for up, that direction for down. Going up, going down, going up, going down. Okay, we got it. Okay, having my parts here ready to be installed. Just before I do anything, I just want really quick to say, this is only my second time installing. I did it on the other side of my Riviera. Now I'm doing this side, and I thought I'd video it just to help anybody out there that can use this in any way for their assistance. I'm not a professional. I don't know if I'm even qualified, but it's being done, and I'm showing you what I've done. And this way, hopefully it helps the next guy who needs assistance with it, who's doing this on his own or has never even seen it done. So saying that, I'd like to also point out a few things here. The motor, I will be installing this inside and laying it down. It won't be installed, but it'll be inside. Reason being, it's really hard to get this part and this part back in there at the same time. So this will be here lying down, and then I'll install this, and I'll most likely bolt this one down. No, I won't be doing that. We will be sliding the glass in, then bolting it down. So let's get with the visual going instead of me trying to explain it. Okay, trial and error, like I said. This is going in first. Now, the glass. At this point, I'd like you to be aware you will need assistance with that. And I'll be bringing in my son to give me a hand with that right now. And we'll see how that works out. So, as we wait for my son's assistance here, I'd like to point out too, I point out a lot of little things. I get a little tape. I got some duct tape here. I have all this metal. Give it a little protection for my window not to get scratched up. When the window gets here, we will be installing. I don't know if you saw the video of my skeleton put together. These wheels right here, 1 and 2, are gonna have to be slid in first, right here, to catch that rail that's inside. Okay, I'd like to point out I did something wrong. I should have had this rail being held up here as I put the motor on. The motor is blocking it from going up, as you can tell. So, taking the motor back off, bringing it down, bringing this up, and have somebody hold it on top for me. Sorry for that inconvenience, guys. Okay, ready to install the motor. Just like to point this out. Grab this rail, have somebody hold it on top so it's out of the way so you can install the motor. Reason being, as it's laying in there and you install the motor, it falls down and it's really hard. It's basically impossible to bring it back up or behind the motor. So, getting ready to bring it in. Be sure you know which obvious nuts and bolts and nuts go to where they belong. These are the 3 that you're going to want. We're going to put them 1, 2, 3 for the motor. So, let me grab my faithful assistant and we'll install that motor. Now I have an assistant here holding this rail up. I'm going to be installing this motor. This point is going to go here. Hopefully this doesn't get in my way. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So give me a minute here as I reach in at a fondle to try to plug it in instead of you watching it so long. Okay, got power on. I bring that down to that position. We're going to be ready to install the glass. Like I said, that's going to be the challenge of this whole little game we're playing here. Okay, so kind of want to guide this to where it has to be. This piece goes down here. That should be good. Just a quick peek on how to install the glass. I think a little bit easier. You're gonna bring it in. Well, bring it in here because a lot of guys are gonna try to do this, try to bring it in and whatever, but you wanna bring it butt in first. Bring up the front. Slide it down, and then you're going to have your assistant hold the glass. Go ahead, come down a little bit, right there. Do not pull it towards you. Okay, so now the fun of trying to get those little wheels in. Okay, apologies, I forgot to turn this back on when I was putting the glass back in. I would like to inform you, the bracket right here, the 2 brackets that hold the 2 wheels, I had it in a position just a little further down. There's a screw hole here. This bracket was probably down to here. These 2 screws were like right here. So the whole bracket was further down. Put the glass in. As the glass went in, you gotta make it into those little grooves. Now, Same thing happened on this side that happened on the other side. You feel this getting stuck. You're trying to push it in order and push it up so in order it's straight. But what happens right behind here, there's some flange hanging over and it catches the screws right here. So when it catches screws, you think you're stuck. What you need to do is get a flat bar or a screwdriver in there, in between here, and just give it a little pry, just a tiny pry, and it'll come loose. So, doing that, before I tighten up, on to the next one. Okay, now we're off to this one. This little guy is gonna slide right into this right here. So what we need to do is bring the glass down. Okay. Now for this piece, we need to bring it up. It needs to be right around this angle for us to put this bracket in, and it will be screwed on here. Now remember, you need to keep these where you can barely get it. See right there? And this is gonna go up. So excuse me for a minute while I hook up my battery. Okay, I set my window at this angle. Here's the window's angle. And now we are going to place this bracket back to the window, the motor. This is the motor. There is a wheel that's going to connect here. This is going to go back up here and down here. So here we go. These screws here, you can go ahead and tighten them up. Unlike all the others, if you remember, everything's loose. Okay, before I start it up, I'm going to take one more look around. Now that the window's installed, I'm going to go ahead and do some little tightening up around. This one here is a little concerning to me because the paint's not matching from where it originally was. If you see, there we go, it'll be there. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let us see how this functions. All right. Working good. Don't be too worried about that slow motion because I have to still lubricate it. All right, I'll show you how it works after I get some little lubrication in there. Okay, so I lubricated the rails inside there. There's also a little thing of adjustment. I just adjusted it. Right here, you'll see these little turn screws in here. Twist them, and it'll make your amber out, inside. It matters, it does. So, that's that. Well, I hope it's useful. I hope you guys are able to use this. I hope to help somebody. Good luck. It's been fun.